This story is from a book, a collection of stories, all about life in heaven. But it's my idea of heaven. Not everybody's, but this is the book, and it's available on Amazon for anyone who wants to buy it. And it's about a collection of stories from another place. Like I said, heaven. But my foreword says it's a collection of stories about life in heaven. Not necessarily everybody's heaven, but a good enough heaven for those who think God has a sense of humour. Anyone with deeply held religious views which preclude any debate on God and his sense of humour should quietly close the book or not listen to the video. Kneel down, kneel down and say a prayer for the rest of us. Anyway, for those who have an open mind, here's the story. It's called Angel's Delight. God looked down from his throne patiently. Well, Gabriel, who's next on the audience list? Gabriel hurriedly consulted his notes, coughed politely, and read out the names. Junior Cherub Tracy and Assistant Demon, Second Class Kevin. They're here to ask for permission to cohabit, I think is the right word. Live together sort of thing, have physical relations with each other, living like humans do in bodies, touch each other in intimate... Yes, I know everything, remember. Sorry, Lord, I keep forgetting. Will you see them, or shall I have them cast somewhere for their impudence? God pondered for half a millionth of a nanosecond. Let them come before me and present their position. I feel in a forgiving mood today, and besides, we haven't had a good laugh here since Lucifer asked for a new shovel. Bring 'em in. The two petitioners were led forward into the almighty presence. Tracy was a small, pretty little slip of an angel, with soft blonde curls carelessly intruding over her heavenly eyes, and chubby cheeks glowing with excitement. Kevin was a small demon, not very frightening, and in fact quite good looking as demons go. His dark eyes were full of fear as he tried to stand tall in front of what was, after all, the enemy general. God looked at the pair benevolently and addressed Tracy. Please tell me, my dear, in your own words, what is it you want, and how you came to be associated with that? He pointed an almighty finger in the direction of the quaking Kevin. Don't be afraid, demon. I shall not cast you anywhere before hearing your case. I do have a reputation for mercy, you know, although I can be awesome in my rage when I want to be. Carry on, Tracy. Tracy swallowed hard, and holding her hands together began her story. Please God, it was like this. I normally work in harps, halos and wings just outside the judgment hall. We've been having a quiet period, but because of the war between Iraq and Iran, reception and judgment had been run off their wings and were looking for help. Most of the customers were going the other way, so it didn't affect us much. And when St. Peter came round asking for volunteers, I thought it would make a nice change, so I applied and got the job. For a while, we were very busy and didn't have time to go to the canteen, so we all had our ambrosia breaks together on the benches at the back of the reception hall. That's how I met Kevin. He used to be an apprentice fire dish maker, or as you might know it, a demon bowler. The same sort of thing had happened to him, and he was working in post-reception, fitting horns and tails and measuring up for tridents. We began meeting during breaks, and I'm afraid we've fallen in love. He's not really a bad demon. In fact, he was meaning to join our side, and it was all a mistake. But he'll tell you about that himself. Please, God, can we stay together? We won't cause any trouble, I promise. God pondered for a full nanosecond. I will hear Kevin's story before I decide. Carry on, demon." Kevin blushed, which is a rather difficult thing to do as his face was red to begin with, but it deepened to a livid shade of purple and everyone knew what he meant. "Well, God, it was like this. I've been on the fireballs for centuries, so when Mephistopheles called for help, I was more than willing to go. I never really wanted to be a demon, and the sulphur gets on my chest. Anyway, there I was, chewing on my brimstone sandwich, when Tracy sat down near me. I'm afraid you make too good a job of your angels. I couldn't help falling for her. My tail was in knots from the word go, and when she actually spoke to me, I nearly died again. She's so lovely, I never wanted to be with anyone quite as much. Please let us be together, even if it's only for a while." God tapped his fingers on his throne. "Tell me how you came to be a demon." "That was a mistake, honestly. I was late in when the dice were cast, and I was still taking my coat off when someone nudged me, so I put my hand up quickly, but it was for the wrong lot. I took it down again as soon as I realised, but I was too late. Michael was right behind me, and he had me out before I knew what was happening. I did complain, but Lucifer wouldn't listen, and Beelzebub said I had no chance with the petition. So I thought that was that until I met Tracy. I'll do anything you ask, but please let me be with her." God smiled. "I'm going to give you both a chance. I'll send you to Earth as humans, and if you can find each other, you can live together as man and wife for a full lifetime. Then if you've been reasonably good, when you return, I'll find you both a job in the same department. How's that? There's only one condition. If you can't find each other on Earth, you'll both go back to your old jobs. Just to give you a chance, I'll put you both in the same town on Earth, but the rest's up to you. Now go, and I'll be watching over you as usual." The pair were ushered from the almighty presence. God whispered to Gabriel, "Tell the archangels we'll run a sweep on how long it takes them, and I'll put up 2 bottles of best nectar as the prize." Leading Seraphim Debbie won the sweep with an estimate of 3 days, 7 hours and 10 minutes, which was only 5 minutes out, and would have been spot on but for Kevin's nervousness, which had him watching Tracy for 5 minutes before he dared to speak to her. Tracy did not recognise the red-faced youth who approached her until he softly called her name, gave her a bunch of red-hot pokers he was carrying. Dropping her scissors, she held up her hand in amazement as her eyes lit up with joy. "How on earth did you find me so quickly?" Kevin grinned from ear to ear as he replied, "Oh, that was easy. With a name like Tracy, you almost had to be a hairdresser. And although he changed you a bit, you still look heavenly and have an angel's way of moving. But there was an even better clue to look for when I thought about it. I've been watching all the hairdressers' shops until I was certain of it." "Go on then," said Tracy impatiently. "What was it then? I'm dying to know how you could tell." "Well," said Kevin, "I knew you used to work in harps, halos and wings, so I looked for someone who fitted the job. Did you realise you always use a round mirror and hold it in just the right position above your customers' heads, like a halo? Then you always study their shoulder blades as though you were going to position their wings." Tracy interrupted, "But lots of hairdressers do things like that. You couldn't be really sure from that. It could have been any of them." "Yeah, I suppose you're right," replied Kevin, "and I thought about it for ages as I was watching them. But there was another thing that really clinched it. I only became certain it was you when I saw the harp hanging up with your coat." Hope you enjoyed my little story. And don't forget, it's available on Amazon, among a lot of others.